welcome to episode 10 of Barely Maintaining. Um, Today we'll be talking about that game with the Texans that we just had. Go through some stats, some plays, what you saw, what you thought. Of course, we'll be talking about expectations for this upcoming game with the Colts, which is on Sunday at noon. And we'll visit Ryan's player stat trivia, talk about the way too early draft, some college players that have been looking good, and maybe checking our fantasy teams if we have time. So as far as that goes, what do you think, Ryan? What happened around the league that we need to talk about? Anything interesting?
I know that with the Tua injury, he is not, from what I'm hearing, is not considering retirement, which is news to me. That I think he still
Surprising.
should.
Yeah.
um, Jordan Love returns to practice on a limited basis for the first time since the injured knee. So that's kind of good news for them. I could care less, to be honest.
Yeah, come back as early as possible. I would say on that knee.
Yeah.
Let's put it through. Let's put it through some work. See what's got.
Let's see. Running back Alvin Kamara and James Cooks, players of the week for week 2. Justin Herbert is working through his ankle injury. Expects him to play versus Steelers, which is good news for them because I don't know who the backup is, to be honest. I forget.
No clue there either.
Uh, yeah.
They had the kid from TCU that made a good run in that national championship game.
Oh, did they?
Max Duger or something, but they've signed and dropped him to the practice squad several times. I do not know who the backup is, but you need Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Let's see. Colts place DeForest Buckner on injury reserve. Tua's obviously on injury reserve. Chiefs bring back Kareem Hunt with the Isaiah Pacheco injury. So that might be
Pacheco's done for season, or
I believe he is just out. Yeah, Kareem Hunt is coming back to Kansas City with starting running back Isaiah Pacheco out likely through October. So
yeah, so for a while there.
Steelers again preparing Justin Fields to start at quarterback. So the 4th round pick is looking more and more like a potential happening. And then from there, it's kind of a lot of just the drama stuff. Obviously, wins and losses. Eagles A.J. Brown says he'll be out for a couple weeks. Deebo Samuel to miss a couple weeks. Just lots and lots of injuries to very key players, it seems, this season.
Yeah, and it's been just a weird season. Like, for example, I don't even follow this because my fantasy team, Kelsey, Travis Kelsey, not doing nothing really.
Yeah.
He's had his lowest 2-game stretch, I believe, of his career.
Yeah.
So just things like that around the league, kind of, have been happening. I think everyone we talked about last week that's been signed up, right? I don't think anybody got extensions this week that
Not that
can speak
I'm
of.
seeing, not any big names at least, other than like I said, the Kareem Hunt getting re-signed to them, but I haven't really seen anything
Of course,
extension or
Bryce Young
anything.
was benched.
Oh yeah,
Only
yeah.
mentioned that because he's a Alabama quarterback, and we're gonna face the Panthers coming up here.
Oh, and then Jermaine Johnson is also out for the season as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like you said, that keeps happening. There's some big names that are going to be watching. And you have people like Bernard Hopkins that hasn't done nothing. Just like some big names that are also just kind of you're waiting to get going here.
And then Tyler Huntley was signed from the practice squad to replace Tua while he's out as well. Which that's kind of a pretty good pickup, I'd say. I forgot he wasn't on a roster right now.
Yeah, and they have a situation similar to us where they have a lot of weapons where you don't have to be great.
Right.
It doesn't feel like Caleb has to be great, but we're not getting anything going right now.
But the line
Uh,
does.
yeah, yeah. Well, I watched it too, and there's some plays where they did okay, and then Caleb made a mistake, or even in the very last play of the game, which we'll get to here. But just the miscommunication between wide receiver
Yeah.
and quarterback. So there was kind of like mistakes all over that just kept happening. Plus, penalty after penalty on the
Yeah.
line.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
what's
both
got to get cleaned
teams.
up. Yeah,
There
yeah.
was
It was
what,
really
40, almost 40, or no, almost 30 penalties, because at one point there was like 10 for the Panthers and a bunch for the Bears. So like it's just crazy that the amount of penalties overthrown that game. But they were all,
yeah.
nothing I saw was like a bad flag by any means.
Right, right. And there was even more that could have been called too, and I'll
Yeah.
talk about it here in our next segment. But with the Roshan Johnson thing,
Yeah.
that we talked about. So this week we played the Texans. It was in Houston, so it was our first road game for this new offense. Um, and and not only that, it was a primetime game, so a lot of build up kind of coming into it. Um, but the numbers were not great. They did improve, like I wanted them to. I said, if we can get over 125 yards, because we had under 100 yards the first game. Caleb was 27 for 37, 174 yards. No touchdowns with 2 interceptions, and the 2 interceptions, probably trying to do too much in circumstances where he was like running for his life, which
Yeah.
felt all too familiar. Sacked 7 times, 81%, pressured on 81% of dropbacks. He was amazing when they didn't pressure,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
he
When
had
he
time to think about it.
and was it is it Chris Collinsworth that was doing the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He was even saying like Caleb Williams told him he wants to be a pocket passer, and he's like, I'm starting to believe him when he's in the pocket and he's got a good pocket. He was doing really really well. He was playing
yeah,
lights out.
yeah. I felt confident in him ripping the ball around, and he is. I mean, those 2 interceptions were, the play had long broken down. It wasn't like
Yeah.
it was just a bad read or whatever, like we've seen in the past. But he's a lot more careful with the ball, I would think.
Mm.
Or I would say personally, from opinion versus what I've seen. Again, I'm an amateur football watcher here. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
you know, maybe the experts can tell you better. But the running game obviously has got to get going. We had the second ranked running game at the end of the season, and I was just telling you the rankings. I think we are ranked. We have the 30 or 28th ranked rushing offense coming in this week. So that's got to get going. We had
Yeah.
22 rushes for 71 yards, and some of those were Caleb.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's crazy to me too that we're using a lot of Swift up the middle. It seems
yeah,
odd to me. Like he's not an up the middle runner. Like he's a get him on a swing route or get him a pitch outside or outside runs. Like and you can see in the game too. Like he does really good on those runs. That where if we do a quick out route to him, where he's swinging out and he gets the ball, I think he had one that stuck out to me that he was in the backfield and he was about to be tackled and he got a first down. He got
yeah,
like a 10-yard runner after it or something like that. So like a lot of those make no sense to me when you've got Homer and Roshan Johnson and Herbert, who all are pretty decent up the middle guys, and then
yeah.
sub in Swift. But I get you paid Swift a lot of money, but at the same point, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it feels very similar to with Luke Getzey. Just like play calling is an
Mm,
issue. Of course, I felt like in some of those run plays, the line wasn't doing. They weren't cohesive like they should be.
yeah,
Those gaps weren't there. But I would just take a page out of. I hate to say it, out of Green Bay's playbook, whatever they did against the Titans, because they had like 200 yards in rushing the first half.
yeah,
Just start pounding it until you figure out the passing game chemistry and get that groove going, because that first drive we came out and had some
Yeah,
like even Chris Collinsworth was saying like, okay, yeah, this is already feeling better than last week. You're already moving the ball, you got some quick passes, you got some quick outs and stuff. Uh, uh, Doing that stuff, and I mean, you gotta like settle it down a little bit and do something because we have an eighth ranked defense. They can get
yeah,
even better, and you're gonna waste it by killing the kid. At least run a running back right up the middle and make them stay honest. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'd rather do that for 3 plays than see Caleb get killed.
yeah,
You know, and you have Torrey Taylor, who is like if you start at the 30 and just do 3 run plays as a 3 and out and only get to the 35, you can still pin them deep.
yeah. I mean, he
You
punted
know?
one from the back of the end zone and still booted the crap out of it.
Yeah. Um, so I think that needs to be part of the game plan too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just hey, you don't have to do anything really.
right.
Just hand the ball off smooth, and we'll just grind this out a little bit. Because eventually, I mean, you saw like Alabama in week 2 when they played that that Florida team.
Mm-hmm.
It just you keep grinding, and eventually they get tired, man.
Yeah,
Like they can only grind for so long.
right.
Especially like the Titans who have a good defensive line. That's what Green Bay did to them. They just kept pounding on them, and eventually those big defensive linemen are tired, and the holes get even bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, or you get open coverage because
yeah,
they're just stacking the box to try to stop from running no matter what. Defense, 3 sacks allowed 75 rushing yards, 260 passing yards. Didn't like the amount of passing yards, but a lot of that was on chunk play stuff, giving up short passes for long runs.
yeah.
Um,
Stevenson kind of came back down to earth a little bit. I noticed that a little bit, and
yeah,
then yeah, it's you
I
can
don't
tell that they
understand.
both were.
We could not stop Nico Collins. It just,
Yeah,
he looked like a stud for some reason. And I know guys have those types of games, and there was probably some matchup issues here and there, but uh, didn't see anybody around Jalen Johnson catching passes. A couple here and there, but like I said, they were like doing the dink and dunk with Nico Collins out the
yeah,
gate for few plays here and there, and then they would break a huge screen pass or something.
mm-hmm.
Um, but as bad as everyone's kind of talked this so far since the game, this is Wednesday night. The game happened on Sunday night, so we've had a couple of days, and there's the earth's falling kind of stuff because of the offensive line. But we only lost by 6 points to a team that's a contender with an offense that didn't get going at all. So
Yeah,
I'm like, if we get going at all, I mean, we can. I feel like easily win some of these games, right?
right. I think so. I mean, if the line improves like 50%, I mean, we can be a much better team. I mean, if we just keep, and I feel like this is the problem that always happens with good defenses and bad offenses, but your defense is on the field so much that, I mean, you
Yeah.
you get exhausted. I mean, you can't just be out there nonstop. It's a lot. Like I always do this, but it's a lot like the Hawkeyes. Like the Hawkeyes have an awful offense every year. Their defense in big games always collapses because they just don't. They're never off the field. They never get
Yeah.
a break.
The crazy thing is, though, it's not your offensive line ever.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like that's not the problem ever with
yeah,
the Hawkeyes. That's like probably one of the shining stars besides the defense, obviously, and
yeah,
special teams. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think we talked about. I think one of the ways is you start slowing it down and just you stack them up: 2 tight ends, a fullback in the back, and just one wide receiver, and
yeah.
you just tell them, "Hey, we're gonna run it. Here it is."
That
You know?
or the top three offenses have the most pre-snap motion right now
Gotcha.
because it
Gotcha.
tells you exactly what the defense is doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel
Which
like
I
we
think
don't
comes
run
with
that much motion.
no, but I think a lot of that comes with experience. And if you
Yeah.
notice, we're like at the bottom of the play clock when we hike the ball.
Yeah.
It's like almost done every time. It's like, so that needs to be sped up too. You know what I mean? We just need to get back on the ball and everyone get kind of figured out and call a play instead of huddling back up and wasting all this time because that was like one of the issues. It's like, dang, it's 0, it's 2, 1,
Yeah.
in the hike. Right then it's like, man, you could be light years ahead of that right then.
Yeah.
Especially
And
towards the end of the game when you
speeding up by
lose.
slowing down would be just a big improvement.
Yeah. Yep. I think the schedule does bode well for us. The Colts, which haven't looked great, they are favored in this game, but that's only because we don't have any offense.
Yeah.
I don't think they're taking into account our defense. Their defense is ranked 31st, so that helps us dramatically. I think get some stuff going.
Yeah.
They, I don't know. It doesn't say how they are with against the. I guess that is. It says rushing and passing, but 17th and 16th. But that's them, right? Not their defense against. I would assume.
I would assume.
Their offense 14th overall is ranked at, but that's again some huge plays from Anthony Richardson, keeping them in it, and we'll get to playing the Colts that game here. But one of the things I mentioned to you about the game was that scrum that happened on the side where Roshan Johnson got punched. And if I'm him, I'm just rocking that guy because I'm not in the game anyway. You're not utilizing me. I'll take the fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just put a GoFundMe up. We'll all help out.
I actually was
never
never seen any news or he never was fined or anything that I've seen.
Should be injected, that's one of their defensive stars, so that helps us for sure. And then there should have been yardage as well. So.
I just love too, like Roshan reacted like I literally didn't do anything.
I know, and then on Twitter he's like, I took everything in me not to rock that boy.
Yeah.
I was like, no kidding, but you should have.
Yeah.
Just get it going. Worst case scenario, you're the only one that has to leave.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, they look you back and say, "Oh, dude, he just punched him." It's a defensive punch. But I get it. I mean, he did the more professional thing.
Yeah.
He's a bigger man than I am in that case.
That just was so wild. Like, it just, out of all the people to hit, Roshan Johnson made no sense.
Yeah. He wasn't even in the game or anything. And he was trying to kind of break it up anyway, because the dude was surrounded by bears after he kind of late hit it. I get it. Caleb kind of slowed up on the sideline, which he can't do. You got to get out of bounds. But it was kind of a late hit, a bang play, I guess, if you will. But he was surrounded by bears and can get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And Roshan was kind of separating a little bit, and then gets punched.
I did like the rally around Caleb, though, that the Bears brought when he was hit. They all got up for him.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Was very cool to see.
And honestly, I liked that last drive until that last pass, which was just a miscommunication. That fourth and long or whatever. That drive was moving a little bit. I mean, we had a shot at it, really. And you're really only a couple plays away.
Right.
Which I know we say that every year on a lot of plays, but we're not getting. It's not 41-7. We're not getting our ass handed to us like some of the other teams around the league that are supposed to be contenders.
If you take out, so I'm not saying pull Caleb by any means. That's not what I'm saying, but you take out the rookie in that situation. There's a real opportunity that we win that game at the end of that. You have plenty of time. You have. I think they had timeouts, right? They had one timeout, right?
One timeout, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we got the ball. We have plenty of time. You got so many weapons. Really, the biggest collapse is the fact that our line wasn't playing great, and we had a rookie quarterback who's not been in a situation like that and stuff. So, you take those two factors out. It's not like we were being blown out by one of the best offenses in the NFL.
And one of the storylines from last season was talking about how every Super Bowl team and the champions they brought in, what the one common thread they had was adversity. And I mean, we're facing the adversity. We kind of snuck away with one the first game out, right, against the Titans. We had a great defense. Defense scored some points. Offense couldn't really move the ball, but he didn't give the ball away either. You
Right.
know, so and then this one, was lost, but we're 500 right now,
Yeah.
and I think we have some winnable games, especially with how beat up the Rams are. Um, Stafford really doesn't have anything to pass to, so this game, I think there was some growth, which is what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it as a positive, really, honestly, even though it felt like it looked worse than it did against the Titans.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really did or not.
Yeah, because the Texans are pretty. I mean, they're in Super Bowl contention this year. Like
Yeah,
we're talking about
yeah,
them as being a serious team that could be in the end of it.
yeah. I mean, they got a great defense. They got Will Anderson, right? That he was having a heck of a game. Um, and some of that I think you got to credit to the Texans and not so much our line being
Yeah.
just absolutely terrible. It does take us longer, it feels like, than a lot of other teams, especially in our division, to get going.
Yeah.
Because it feels like Green Bay's always going right out the gate. It always takes us a couple games, and then, except for that one year we beat the 49ers out the gate, and we thought we had some, and just commenced to losing like 3 in a row. But yeah, overall, I think it was a great learning experience. It's a little bit of adversity to put in front of the team. Of course, we're going to spin every loss or win as a positive. I mean, we're Bears fans, and that's what we got to do to keep it going. So,
One of the
I think
things I did like too was seeing Caleb kind of get Komet a little bit more active. Like he did do some of the dump offs to Komet. Almost killed him one of the times, but
yeah, I read an article though. Komet said he played that off.
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at the hit, why he didn't call it when they look back at it is because it was like his shoulder, and he said he played it off because if you look at the footage when he's coming up, they're like, "Are you okay?" He was like, "Oh, I was just playing."
Okay.
Like he said, "I'm good. I was just playing." Like he's trying to get the call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it looked close. It was
Yeah.
definitely his 1 millisecond either direction, it would have hit his head.
Right.
But yeah, he got up shaking his head like he was concussed and stuff, and he was just playing.
Yeah,
That's
don't
what he
play
said
like
anyway.
that so much. That's scary.
I don't think you can play like that. You still got to go into protocol
Yeah.
and stuff, bud. You can say you're playing because a lot of dudes said for the last 40 years they were playing, and
Yeah.
now they don't remember their names.
Yeah.
So quick commercial break here, and then when we come back, we'll talk about our expectations for that Colts game, and then we will talk about the Ryan's player trivia.
Hey guys, just want to take a break from the podcast to tell you about Fanatics. At Fanatics, you can find everything you need to support your team, from jerseys and hats to hoodies and accessories. They've got it all. It's officially licensed, so you know you're getting the real deal. And here's the best part. We've teamed up with Fanatics to bring you an exclusive offer. When you use the code 24SHIP at checkout, you'll get free shipping on orders over $24. Plus, by using our special link in the show notes on our website, you'll be able to directly support our podcast. So head over to fanatics.com, load up the best Bears gear, and use code 24SHIP for free shipping on orders over $24. It's a win-win. Get to show off your Bears pride and help keep Barely Maintaining going strong. Thank you for your support, and as always, bear down. Now let's get back to
Cutting you off there, Ryan. So Colts this week. It is at Indianapolis. But I feel like they're vulnerable, right?
Yeah. AR looked like he was going to be out of this world on week 1 and then kind of came back down to earth.
Yeah. Really couldn't get anything going, really.
Yeah. Which is kind of good for us.
Who did they play?
They played the Packers on week 1 or it's week 2. Yeah, they played Packers.
Are those Packers?
Yeah, and then they played Texans in week 1.
Because the Packers just ran all over them.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign for us. I would just, whatever they did, do that.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty. They don't. It's not. I don't. I mean they're not. They don't have a great defense by any means. I mean I think they have some pieces, but and then
Well, according to this, I mean statistically they're 31st in the league, so they're obviously vulnerable for run and pass.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the Packers were doing it was just relying on Josh Jacobs because they didn't want to put it in Malik Willis's hands, which it's his
Right.
first week there, and I mean, it's what he was traded and then basically thrown in because he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't really have to do anything," and then Love goes down. So I am excited for this game. I hope we get just put the run game in effect and then kind of do some confidence building throws for Caleb, and then just I think the biggest problem is we get in these situations where we have to throw so freaking much that the defense that we're going against knows that they can just pin their ears, and we have a vulnerable offensive line. So,
well, that's part of the problem with what happened with the Texans game was the offsides. So you're always kind of playing behind the ball. It was 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, 1st and 20, whatever it was. Those things got to stop.
Yeah.
Because you're just putting a kid who's already in a vulnerable position, even in a worse position, to learn even, because he's fighting for his life. And you're changing automatic running situations to, to passing or screen passing, which we're not good at. Why are we screen pass all the time?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so sick of it.
It would be one thing, like, I think Collinsworth said this, like, we run a lot of screenplays, but we don't do them with DJ. And DJ is, like, great at that. Where if he catches it, he can make the first guy miss, and then, next thing you know, he's got 5 yards at least.
Yeah.
And
plus, you get in the rhythm, right? Because someone's catching the ball. So.
Yeah, I hope that we get that. And then, obviously, defenses just got to stay on the out of this world level that they're on because they're playing out of their minds. So Kyler Gordon looks good still. I mean, he's sending blitzes all over the place and may not get them, but he's disrupting them or sending somebody else. Heck, friggin', he's apparently the guy that we were looking for on the other side. Montez Sweat on one side, Kyler Gordon on the other.
I have no problem with the team defensively or special teams really so far, other than Velus Jones, and he was benched this week. So
keep him the hell away.
I'm happy with that. You got to hold on the ball, man. Like we had some opportunities, and that luckily we came away with the win in that first one anyway. But we can't be doing that stuff. Especially if you're not going to catch it, kicking it across the field.
Kicking it back to them. It's the wildest part of that.
But as far as this game goes, I think it's definitely winnable. They have it as a pretty low scoring game. I think the guesstimate is 24-21 or something. Them favored. But that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And I think they just put one of their best defensive players on the IR, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, yep.
So that's helped, especially with that run that's already in a bad shape. That defense is bad against the run, you know what I mean? So run. Do some quarterback runs, then run it some more, and just everybody gets to run it.
Doomsday sweeps, those work well. Hell, even Velus Jones sweeps and stuff work well.
Yeah.
But
put the stickums on his hand, on his hands, and hey diddle, Velus Jones up the middle. Put your head down and just lead the way, bud.
Yeah. Because I think that's the way you win, and then you kind of get some confidence under him that the offense is under Caleb Williams, that the offense is scoring points. Because even if it's not him scoring points, it's good to see the offense scoring touchdowns. And I mean, that's got to build confidence.
Touchdown drives. That's, I I agree. And I was just going to say, I mean, it's so cliche to say, but I feel like the old adage, get in a rhythm. You know what I mean? Like they haven't had any rhythm at all other than a few plays in a row on a few drives randomly here and there, like that final drive for a couple plays. They were chunk plays, boom, boom. They kind of went up tempo. and doing that stuff to get in that rhythm. But again, the rhythm doesn't even have to be passing game.
Right.
Just some good old fashioned runs that keep the defense grinding. Make them work for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the stuff that pays dividends in the third and fourth quarter when it might actually matter. But I feel like we have an opportunity to get some turnovers because he likes to air out the ball, and those are just 50-50 balls. You know what I mean?
Right.
That Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, those type of players will come down with. I feel like Kevin Byard. Did we have any? No, we didn't have any interceptions last week, did we?
No.
So I feel like they're hungry for some ints this week. If they were passing last week against the Green Bay, they'll be passing this week.
Yeah.
I feel like Montez Sweat, we're gonna need him to wake up a little bit. Not that he's not, but he's getting double teamed a ton, and he's still getting in the backfield. But put some hands on.
That was
on the quarterback, not just pressures.
His helmet got ripped off. And he just kept driving and just kept going for it. I was like, dang.
Yeah, and it's like, how much more obvious can it be? I don't know. I feel like every fan probably complains about not getting calls, but man, we got a player punched in the face, like blatantly obvious, and nada.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of calls don't happen, and then that happens, and then they were showing it too. I saw footage of a guy, somebody on the Texans, just like totally dancing in front of our sideline after it was like a 4th and out or something, and then and then they cut to Marsh accidentally bumping into the ref and getting the personal foul 15 yards. A few years ago. It's like, what the heck? What what is this guy's in front of the ref, like doing a dance in front of our sideline, which is obviously taunting. But they're cracking down on some of that stuff though. I saw they did get the wide receiver, London. I think it's Drake London.
Oh yeah.
For doing a celebration.
Yep, I did see that.
Kind of mimicked shooting a little bit or whatever, I guess was the thought. I don't know what it really was, but they didn't like it. So I get it though. They're gonna put a cap on stuff that they feel makes the brand look bad.
Yep.
Right. So that being said, well, that was a hard transition. Ryan's player trivia, stat trivia.
All right.
He's going to give me some interesting facts or stats about a former or current Bears player, and I'm going to see if I can guess it. My current record is 3-4. We've had some interesting ones: Musa Muhammad, Kyler Gordon, DeAndre Carter, Lance Briggs, Kevin Byard. I bet you didn't know that Lance Briggs did a graphic novel.
Yeah.
I've learned that from this segment, so
yeah.
There's some cool facts that come up.
Apparently, it's very hard to get.
Yeah. All right, what do you got for her?
All right, we got another 3 this week.
All right.
So, here we go. They went to college at Notre Dame. They were a second-round draft pick in the 2020 draft. One NFL team. In college, they had 60 receptions for 691 yards and 6 touchdowns. And they played baseball in college as a relief pitcher with a 5.05 ERA.
Okay. So
baseball, obviously not their sport.
Yeah. Is he a tight end? It's got to be Cole Kmet.
Yep.
I mean, second round 2020 draft. That kind of gave it away, but also his celebration is him swinging and missing the ball. No, I'm just kidding.
Apparently. All right.
I mean, he was just lobbing him up there if he's got a 5 RE.
Just it's like
just underhanded it, or what's he doing out there?
Know. Just freaking throwing it as he's just a position player pitching.
Yeah, Rizzo has a better ERA than that.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will say Kmet was a beast in college. As far as I'm not like a Notre Dame fan, I actually kind of actively root against him because of all the, my era Rudy and all that stuff. You know, people love Notre Dame.
Except for the one player now that apparently we need to follow.
Guess what, Bears fans? Guess what? We got someone to root for on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And his last name starts with Urlacher.
And I hope to God he plays on the Bears because that would be amazing. Because he looks like it's somewhat decent.
Is he? Hopefully, he's good enough to make the team, but he's bad enough to be undrafted free agent.
Yeah. And he
No,
also
I don't know.
switches
Maybe
to linebacker.
But he's a freshman. I think we got to look it up, but I think Brian Urlacher was a safety at New Mexico.
Yeah, he was.
So we're on the same trajectory, right?
Yeah. It just
Hit the weight room or whatever.
Play after, yeah. All right. So
Cole Kmet.
Yep. Next one I got here. Played college at UCF. Was a 4th round pick. In college, they had 112 receptions for 1,674 yards and 13 touchdowns. They were on 6 NFL teams. And in 2011, he was stabbed by his wife.
Jeez. It's not Sam Cooke, is it?
Nope.
He's the guy that got busted for a bunch of cocaine, I believe, that played for the Bears wide receiver. I do not know.
Brandon
that is my
Marshall.
Guess. Brandon Marshall?
Yeah.
Damn, he got stabbed by his wife?
Yeah.
What's the story behind that? Any backstory? Or
It didn't
just
really give any other than, like, just in 2011.
Normal Tuesday in Brandon's life, you know?
Just...
He was always battling demons, so
yeah,
totally understandable. Maybe she was just protecting herself.
Let's see if there's
He's kind of one of that last area of where they let you hit him in the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah, it just says on April 23rd, 2011, Marshall was stabbed near his stomach by his wife. He was taken to the hospital and was released 2 days later and has since made a full recovery. Oh, wait. It was later revealed by police that Marshall's wife did make a brief 911 call, but only described an unspecific emergency, and no mention of stabbing ever took place. She was charged with aggressive battery and a deadly...
Somebody might be hurt over here. I'm not going to say much other than that. Somebody got injured
So,
here.
this was on her. This was nothing he did. Like, it doesn't sound like
Brandon has a
he did.
tummy ache. I'm not going to tell you why.
Just what a wild story.
In the background, he's just screaming, "You stabbed me!" Brandon's tummy's hurting. We're going to need an ambulance.
Apparently, they got... Oh, in 2009, he was in a fight with his fiance then, which is the same... I only don't say her name because I cannot pronounce that. But yeah, so just apparently they went back and forth for a little while.
Yeah. Fight them demons.
And for the last one here, played college at Vanderbilt. 57.2 passing percentage. 8,697 passing yards. With 59 passing touchdowns. Was first round pick in 2006 draft. 3 NFL teams. And was married to a reality TV star.
That's Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Old Jay, man. Never did I think in a million years I'd sit back and love watching Jay Cutler highlights, but
A dog.
yeah. I mean, he was one of our historical gunslingers. You know what I mean? Where love it or hate it, that ball was going up. That's where I think I have PTSD of every time you watch a throw and it doesn't show the receiver at the other end. The ball's just coming out of the quarterback. It's like I'm nervous about there's somebody at the other end.
Still, my favorite video of all time is just Jay Cutler's hype video that guy made, and then all of a sudden it's Jay Cutler, look out. Or Alshon, look out, it's a missile. It just blasts him in the back of the head.
But, I mean, you can't get any better with throw, though. Just turn your head around.
Just
Alshon.
40 yards away, and Alshon gets pelted with the ball in the back of the head.
Because I'm almost certain I probably cried when that happened in real time, you know?
Yeah. What the heck is going on?
But you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
And then we've had kind of a laundry list since then. But in true Bears fashion, we'll ride it out with them.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler, though, I do think Jay Cutler is was an underrated quarterback, and he
Yeah.
gets a lot of flack for not showing emotion or whatever, or maybe not being a great leader in the locker room. But he was like a cowboy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He didn't
He
live
was
by
like
no
just
rules. He just
a,
threw that
yeah,
ball up there.
just smoking cigs. One of the greatest. He gave us one of the greatest memes of all time.
Yeah.
So both our college teams got a win this week.
Yeah.
Ryan's being Iowa and mine being Alabama. We played in Wisconsin, which was kind of helping Ryan out by beating a Big Ten team. But I don't feel like Wisconsin's, or maybe they haven't got to be where they are typically, but they're not the normal Wisconsin team where they kind of
The
can upset
last
those
couple
big teams.
years, they've been a little off, it seems.
Yeah, because they usually have some offensive linemen there or some defensive players that
Russell
will make the
Wilson,
NFL.
running backs always. Melvin
Yep.
Gordon
Um.
and Monty Ball,
Yeah.
recent ones. Yeah.
So, but not as of recent. I mean, they did. I didn't watch the game, but the highlights look like they were outmatched from start to finish. Anyway,
Yeah.
really. What about the Iowa game? They
Yeah.
played Troy. I didn't see the highlights, but I did see check ins the score, and Troy was leading at one point, which
They led through halftime and then
really
some of the third quarter. But yeah, it was ugly.
I said that that's a better position for you guys to be in, though, because from when you play from behind, you guys seem to play way better than
Yeah.
when you're playing with the lead and kind of being conservative. You know what I mean?
Because we play actual football to win the game instead of
Yeah,
not to
and then and you're
lose.
gaining momentum instead of just
Yeah.
letting the momentum
Yeah.
go to the other team.
Yeah.
Which,
It's
especially in that rivalry game, it's like you leave the door open a little bit, right?
yeah.
And
But it
uh,
looked ugly.
yeah,
We have another dog punter, so
yeah, that helps.
guess there's
And
that.
it's not. I mean, honestly, it's even when it's good, it's not pretty.
No.
Half the time. I mean, even for Alabama, it's like we got the most miraculous play in Alabama history of 4th and 31 because of a snap over his head the play before. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was like that's not good. You know, it resulted in a cool play, but
Yeah.
definitely not football you want to see.
This
Um,
this week we got Minnesota though under the lights.
yeah, primetime game. Who's looking good? You guys
For
got some cornerbacks or some tight ends?
I mean
Who's stepping up so far?
we still have Higgins and Nick Jackson, who are both projected to be pretty highly rated linebackers out of into the NFL next year, and then Sebastian Castro is kind of like your Kyler Gordon, where he's that nickel guy, running some blitzes, coverage, and then Luke Lockey, or his name's pronounced different every freaking
Well,
game.
were you guys' quarterback? Will he be an NFL? Do you think
I don't trust that man. He does not throw with laces.
he doesn't?
No, he doesn't use the laces to throw the football.
That's weird to me.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So top 5 passing leaders, we got Jackson Dart from Mississippi, Cam Ward from Miami, Josh Hoover, TCU, Shador Sanders, Colorado, and Baron Morton from TTU.
Texas Tech?
TTU, I don't know what that is. Let me look here. Baron Morton, Texas. Yeah, Texas TTU, Texas Tech University.
I just never heard of
He's
it called
he's
TCU.
gotten 9. Yeah, me neither. That's why I was like, I don't know what school that is. 974 passing yards, 10 touchdowns. He's got a 64.7 QBR. Compared to that to Jackson Dart, who's got 1172 yards and a 91 QBR. Both look like they're balling out yardage wise. They're not necessarily getting wins though.
Yeah. The it seems like it's a low year for quarterbacks for the draft, but sometimes it feels that way, and then you get some of the best quarterbacks out of it, though.
You know who the number one rusher in the country is?
Yeah. Keegan Johnson.
479 yards in 3 games.
Yeah. He's had
I
almost
mean,
200 yards in a couple of them.
zoinks
Yeah.
is what I would say. That's freaking running it, bro.
Yeah. That's what the Bears need
Uh,
to do. But he
yeah.
also, it sucks though, because if he was faster, he'd have even more yards. But
That's insane.
He,
He's averaging 7.9 yards a carry. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
How much more do you want?
Just a little
Just
bit
give
faster.
that ball in the. How do you not? How are you not winning every game?
The problem is he'll
7.9 yards a carry.
Yeah, he'll get through the hole, and then you'll see him get like 30 yards, but then all of a sudden the cornerback's just catching up to him that was across the field because he's just not fast enough to get all the way to the end zone. But there's been multiple runs this year where he could have like 4 80-yard touchdown rushes already.
That's insane. I'm impressed. I mean, to be the number one rusher in the country is pretty huge.
Yeah.
3 games in, because we're now on at least enough sample size, and you're starting to actually find, teams that are going against the matchups that they'll face. Plus, you're like, I mean, there's Georgia and Ohio State and teams that are out there that are like, big top tier teams.
Yeah. That's one player getting 160 yards per game on average.
That's pretty good. Keep you guys open for that. I'm sure there's an Iowa tight end coming up that's going to be making a name for himself, but you'll probably see you'll see Johnson under the lights at some point.
Yeah.
Iowa, just as a state, produces a college anyway. Iowa, both colleges produce running backs. It seems like.
Yeah.
At least to the next level. That go to the next level. Jalen Milroe, 590 yards passing, not a ton there, and then Jam Miller's 265 rushing yards. But
they're really not having to throw that.
We haven't had to do nothing really. Our big test is Georgia. It's next week.
And he runs a really good RPO. Like he runs really well off of that too.
Yeah. Yep. But again, we haven't had a test yet. The real test is, we kind of struggled against that Florida team that always gives us trouble. But the big test is coming up. It's Georgia.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great game.
I believe we're in Georgia too. Yeah, we usually do. They usually beat us in the season, and we usually do good against them if it's a title game or like a bowl game. But
they look beatable against Kentucky.
Yeah. But we also look beatable against USF or whatever. So we'll see. It all depends on how many points we score. If it's more than them, we'll win. It's how it is. It's just college is it's just so matchup wise and week to week.
Mm-hmm.
You could get blown up. We like Iowa and Iowa State. We always struggle, even if Auburn isn't even on the landscape of college football. We always have a battle with them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Yeah. There's always those kind of teams that that's their main game, for the season is to try to beat you. So so as far as the way too early draft, you don't really take running backs in the first, but 7.9 yards a carry. If this kid keeps that up for half of the season, draft him right now, man. Keep those legs fresh. I don't care if he's a freshman. I don't care how fast he is. He looks like he's young. He might get faster.
I don't remember what year he's in, but he's had some injury problems in the last year.
Really?
Let's see.
3 seasons. 22 to now. So he's ready. Just following that up with some other rushers in college that are coming up. Let's see who else is out there. looking good. Ashton Gianti from Boise, RJ Harvey from UCF, Omarion Hampton from UNC, and Jaquindon Jackson from Arkansas. All over, except for Jaquindon Jackson, basically all over 400 yards, which is insane in 3 games. But that's college, and and if that's the way what it takes to win, they're way more willing to keep doing it. For NFL, they start cutting that stuff off pretty quick, before it gets too.
There is a kid named Noel Williams from California.
Yep,
He has 4 interceptions already.
I see that.
Oh my gosh, he's also been playing since 2020. So okay, never mind. So yeah, for some reason I've listed 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this will be his 5th season with them.
He does look like he has a little bit of gray in his beard already,
Yeah.
but he can stop some passes.
Yeah.
And Cal is 3-0. Okay,
Yeah.
right there, he's already doing his job, bringing a little bit of attention to his school. Just us clicking on it and looking at it.
Yeah, because he's had 1 every game, 2 against Auburn.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Nice job, Williams.
That's crazy.
Nick Nash, SJSU, which is San Jose State, has 485 yards receiving.
Dang.
In 3 games.
That's crazy. That's 30 more yards than the second place guy.
I wish it gave a game by game breakdown here. Oh, it does. 17 receptions, 225 in the game against Kennesaw State. I think that is who that is. I don't know who KENN is. But anyway, he had 3 touchdowns, 225.
Nice.
And he came out his first game out with 10 receptions, 170 yards. So the kid can catch. Nick Nash. Watch out for him. He's going to be a star. We just jinxed him.
Yeah.
So I'm in 2 fantasy leagues. Just touch on it real quick because we have a couple minutes here. I'm in a total rebuild in one of them, to be honest with you, in the barely maintaining one. I did, I think, 8 different roster transactions on the waiver wire, trying to adjust, but Tua was my quarterback, so I have to pivot from that. Luckily, I have Joe Burrow, but I want to replace Tua because I just don't see it there. And Joe is not like outstanding by any means. He's kind of that middle tier that's doing reliable, I guess, at this point now.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Barely maintaining. I have 3 roster spots that have IR next to them. Because I've got Puka, I've got Christian McCaffrey, and I've got Isaiah Pacheco. And
all players that would be scoring big points too, have they not been injured, right?
Yeah, if you can't get rid of them because, and then I also have Deebo Samuel who's doubtful. So
yeah,
just kind of I don't know what to do.
Yeah, again, I mean that's part of the game, right? It's there's a lot of injury that plays into it, and how much depth you have in those positions. And 49ers just took a loss, so losing more pieces there,
which was crazy with losing to the Vikings.
And the Vikings are the only 2-0 team in the NFC North currently. I am surprised that there is that much kind of parity happening already. I think there were 6 upsets or something last week.
Yeah.
Or teams that were the underdogs. So that's kind of cool, but also crazy that that's happening. It's hard to our survival pool. I would already been knocked out. I picked the Ravens last week at home against the Las Vegas Raiders, with Gardner Minshew coming in, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
They snuck one out. So it's getting increasingly harder to figure out which team to pick. The matchups are, especially if you look at the point spread, there's just like 2, 3, 4, which isn't huge spreads at all for NFL. Really.
Right.
In the other one, one of our buddies, Hunter's fantasy league, I am 2-0 in that one, but it's a 2 quarterback league, and honestly, in both leagues, I'm just totally confused on the points. So I'm just putting the players I suspect to have the best matchups and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
But I didn't do something drastic in the barely maintaining one because I was 0-2, and it was not good. I am currently last in that league for points scored and everything because my roster just did not look good. I was depending a lot on some Bears players that aren't paying off as
Right.
far as fantasy league goes. Defensive players, Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat. I realized, like, really, if you want reliable points for the defensive players in fantasy, go with some linebackers because they get consistent tackles, which will get you those points. Of course,
Right.
like you said, Jalen Johnson gets you one interception. No, that's a game changer, right? So that's the risk you got to take. That's the gamble, I guess. I kept some of the pieces, moved some parts around, but I really kind of just am rebuilding that roster. The other roster, I'm just moving some pieces back in. Now the Marvin Harrison seemed to wake up last week. Of course,
Yeah.
since I benched him, he's like, I'm going to score 1 billion points.
Pretty much.
So yeah, if those guys keep up that, I'll be fine. On the other one, I have like you said, Christian McCaffrey, which hurts. But I also had Saquon Barkley, so there was a good backup there to kind of, hold the boat. And then I immediately picked up the guy who backs up Christian McCaffrey, so he's been getting a bunch of points as well.
Yeah. That's how it happens, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just got to know. That's kind of what I like about you. You got to kind of pivot and know, or take a guess anyway, what you think that the team's going to do. Are they going to bring in this guy, or are they going to do it by committee, or and then I seem to always be chasing players. Ones that had a good week the week before, I get them, and then they don't do crap. They're like, oh, that was the best you're going to get out of me, So we'll see on some of those guys. That's kind of what I'm doing in the rebuild, but I need to do something and move some parts around because I get nothing out of running backs, barely nothing out of Tua, really. And then I had a bunch of Dolphins wide receivers on that team, so that hurts as well. You know what I mean? What do you think? You have a couple game matchups. You want to pick them?
Yep. I just want
Let's run that real quick, and then
we'll gloat here too, because Michael, you did better this week.
I did
2-2.
God. Nice. Okay, I'm improving.
So you're 3-5.
Nice. Okay.
But I went 4-0.
Nice.
So 7-1.
Very nice.
So apparently I am a true NFL expert now.
Yeah, better than me. I mean, honestly, even the experts aren't experts this year because it's all over the place. But I'm just fighting. I'm just playing myself here. I'm not even. Yeah, I have no idea on the pick 'em. So you've been doing good on picking 'em. So
only 2 weeks in, so there's definitely plenty of time.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Exactly.
So this week's games, we got Steelers versus Chargers.
Where are they at?
I believe it's Steelers at LA. I'll make sure.
Let's see. It's Chargers at Steelers.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a hard one, really.
Yeah, it is.
I gotta pick the Chargers because that's my secondary team. I'm picking Chargers. I'm assuming Justin Herbert starts this week. Lad McConkey goes nuts.
Yeah. He's been, and then Quentin Johnson too.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson as well.
Yeah, so I honestly, I've been back and forth.
Yeah.
Just because the Steelers got a great defense. Justin Herbert's a little
Yeah.
banged up.
Right.
But the Steelers also can't move the ball.
Very true.
But I think I'm gonna go Steelers.
Yeah. They're at home.
Yeah.
They still got Mike Tomlin.
Just
Mike Tomlin versus a Harbaugh. I feel like, you're betting.
Bosa's just playing out of his mind too. Watt. Sorry,
Watt,
JJ
yeah.
Watt is playing out of his mind too, and it's just if he smells blood in the water with Herbert's ankle, then
Adios to the ankle.
yeah. Next up, we
You
got
definitely-
Broncos at Buccaneers.
Broncos or Bucks? I'm taking the Bucks for sure here. Baker Mayfield looks like he, deserves the contract he got.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at home, so
Yeah.
Denver has not got their crap together yet, and Bo Nix, I don't think it's him. So
Yeah, I'm with the Bucks as well here. I think this is not where I think Tampa Bay is going to fall off at some point, but they're playing out of their minds right now, and I don't think this is the week they fall off.
I also feel like that team that everyone will bet against, and they also keep making you wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he just is scrappy, and they want it. I don't know. I think you're right. There's going to be a loss. They are currently 2-0, but I don't think this will be the game.
Yeah. Next up, I got Eagles Saints. I'm going to keep riding with the Saints here. Kind of a Derek Carr comeback tour, it looks like.
Yeah. And it's at home, huh?
It is.
Yeah, New
Eagles
Orleans is at home.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go New Orleans as well. I just don't see Philly does not look great.
No, they don't, and their defense looks pretty. Like they look decent,
exactly.
but also they're not great. And Jalen seems really unsure about his throws and running. I know he had 86 yards last week, I believe it was, but or something like that. But he also, at the same time, he just didn't look like he believed in his running. It was weird.
Yeah. And then of course like Saquon, they had a for sure touchdown. Saquon dropping really it was not a great pass, but it hit him in the hands, so you got to catch it. Those, I don't know, a lot to clean up yet.
Yeah.
And Saints already look like they've already cleaned all of it up. So
yeah. Next up, I've got Ravens, Cowboys. Let's see, the Cowboys are at home.
yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens because the Ravens have not won yet, have they?
No, not the.
I believe they're
no,
0-2.
Yeah, they're 0-2.
Cowboys will probably beat the crap out of them, just knowing my luck. But I'm gonna pick the Ravens because I feel like they gotta be getting a chip on their shoulder, right?
Yeah,
You can't go 0-3, can you? In that AFC North?
Yeah, Burrow didn't he, when they went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, totally. But you can fall behind real quick, and Pittsburgh's 2-0.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
then you got the Browns are 1-1, and then whoever else is in that division, I can't remember.
Titans. Is that
Is
Titans?
it the Titans? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Let's see, AFC North: Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. It's the
Steelers.
Bengals.
Okay, Bengals.
And the Bengals have not looked great either. They're vulnerable.
Yeah.
But again, this is all early season, which makes me feel good about the Bears because I feel like we're all trying to figure it out, right? There's a couple teams that are gelling pretty good. But I'd rather be figuring out now instead of gelling now and having to figure it out later.
Right. Same.
You know, when you get missing pieces and stuff or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be optimistic about a pretty bad game. If looking back though, at it as far as the highlights and stuff, it wasn't as bad as it felt when I was watching it. You know, kind of live. Just because we could not get anything going, and once offensively, you know, and once we did in the last drive, it felt good for a minute, you know, but Some consistency there and some run game.
But for that
So
last one, I got I think Ravens are gonna go on 3. I think I got Cowboys in this one.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Cowboys bounced back from last week. I know they lost to who was it? The Saints, right? Yeah.
And did not look good at all.
No, but I think they bounced back. And
they have the talent for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Micah Parsons still.
Yeah.
Dak's healthy. And Zeke is only 150 years old, so.
But playing well.
Been. I mean, other than that Saints game, really, he's. You just need a Tony Pollard with him.
Yeah.
You need that pair, but. So, we'll see what happens this week. Bears got the Colts coming up in Indianapolis, so we'll be excited to talk about that next week. We will talk about our expectations coming up for the week after versus the Rams, which is at home. Finally coming back home. It's funny. I had this as a Titans as a win, Houston as a loss. So we're on so far. I have Indianapolis as a win, and then a loss is the Rams. But I'm going to change that to a win now because I feel like that team is vulnerable based on injuries that weren't there when we first looked at this. So really, first 4 games, we could be 3-1.
Yeah.
I mean, first things first, though, we got to beat Indianapolis at home.
But even 2-2.
I feel it's improvement, right?
Yeah.
Over last year where we were this time. And again, this defense can stop any squad. We stopped, I think, a playoff team at the very least. As usual, special thanks to Julie Burhite and Lindsay O'Brien for giving us the time to do this. We really appreciate it. Especially Julie. She's double time what Lindsay has to do. Especially since I have a 11-month-old. Your youngest is what, 10 months?
Yeah.
Or so, and then he has a 3-year-old. So all of them are mobile now. So that's the scary thing. And I can't imagine having. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can train Max to help you catch Addie.
They run around together, so yeah.
Yeah, so wear each other out a little bit. But yeah, the mobile stage is a way different one. So appreciate our wives giving us the time to do this. Always got to say good night, Richard. Appreciate you listening. And make sure you follow us on all of our social medias. Ryan's really awesome at putting videos up so you can see those clips from these shows. And just a heads up, we're working on a studio. We'll be in studio eventually here. Can't give a date on that. It's a slow process because it's mainly dependent on me not being lazy. But, we put a lot of time and effort in the show, so that takes away from time we could be doing other stuff, like working on the studio. It will come, though. It'll be a nice setup. I'm trying to go for the look of the Superfan sketch. At least to the basics anyway. But we will be in studio eventually, so make sure you buy those products from our sponsors so we get money and we can put it into the show. Any parting thoughts there, Ryan?
This might be a rough week for football, but not necessarily looking forward to it as a fan of both, but okay, but
as far as college football, you got to be happy you don't have to play Georgia this week.
Yeah, but I appreciate all the people that watch the videos and listen and whatnot, and kind of make us have some more fun. Yeah,
we're just a couple average guys.
Yeah,
talking about sports or whatever. With that being said, this is episode 10. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll be talking about the Bears.